around for a day and just be your hype man. Like just walking around, coming to a staff meeting. You're like, what's up, everybody? Let's get this staff meeting going. All right. Todd, I'm teaching upstairs next Sunday. I could just have Todd on stage with me the whole time, right? Like, turn to John chapter 20. I like it. I like that. There's no sign-up sheet. I think you're the only one that wants the job. It's just you. I like it. Everybody needs a hype man. Todd's the guy. Hey, it is good to see you guys here. Everybody, some of you guys were traveling for spring break. Some of you did not. Did anybody get a little sunburn yesterday? I did, yeah, some of us got it. Jay's got the best half of the back of the hand tan line I've ever seen. Like, the way he holds his fishing pole, it's like, these are hidden, but it's beautiful. I know, it's weird. Like, I got home and thought, that 1 hour in daylight just did the trick, apparently. It's good to see you guys. I know we have a bunch of people still traveling, and I think the people that traveled to Colorado are alive. Have you guys heard from everybody? Everybody's alive? All right. Because I just heard they're stuck on a highway in Kansas at one point. Smart people went to Florida, and luckily they came back. So thank you guys for joining us back here. Hey, we do have a few things coming up I want to make sure everybody is aware of. This Wednesday we are having life groups again. So come on out and join us. Ethan, on the spot, come up, tell us, everybody, why they should go to life groups. Ethan, what's going on?
Well, hey. So life groups are every Wednesday except the first Wednesday of the month. But life groups are just a great way to just find community in our youth group. We split up middle school and high school. And so just splitting up allows everyone to just, the high schoolers, well, for me, because I'm in high school, like we just get really close. I started going, what was it, a year and a half ago, 2 years, something like that, when we were going to Jay's house. And I just gained a lot of new friendships and got really close to a lot of people. And it's just a great way to just learn more about Christ.
What if you've never been to a life group?
If you've never been, this Wednesday, we're starting a new series. We're finishing up Luke and Acts, and we're starting a new series, and it's going to be a good time. This Wednesday, 6:30.
That's right.
High school meet. Are we still meeting up there, or is there like Wednesday night live thing?
I don't know. Yeah.
Life groups meet up there in the Commons, and middle school down here. So, yeah.
All right. Thanks, Ethan. All right. Hey. Todd liked it. All right. Again, if you've never been, come on out and join us for life groups, everybody. It is awesome to see so many students just coming out, getting in God's Word. If you've never been, that's totally fine. Come out and join us this Wednesday. So even if you've taken some time off or you haven't been in a long time, please come on out. It's always a good time. And then you heard Ethan say the only time we don't meet is the first Wednesday of the month, which is coming up really quick. We have another Exodus XL here because we did our last one. We took a week off because of refuel, so it feels like they're really close here. But our next Exodus XL is the first Wednesday in April, and we're going to be doing a night called Drop It. Don't know what the special food or anything that is going to be, unless you guys have requests. Anybody want to? We already have done Chick-fil-A. Do what? Somebody say Waffle House? I don't know how we would do that, but we'll look into that, possibly. Waffles? Yeah, just preach it, Delaney, preach it. We'll do something. There'll be some food, and, it's Exodus XL is always a bigger version of Exodus, what it used to be, so prizes and stuff. We still need to get rid of all of this junk coming up. So we'll hand out some stuff here in a second. We'll clear off that table full of prizes. So start thinking about who you can invite, who you can reach out to. Exodus XL is your chance, all right? We're two things what we're about here. To know Christ and to make him known. And so life groups is all about growing in your relationship with Jesus, growing personally in your walk. Nights like Exodus XL, those are your opportunities to have fun for yourself, but also to make Christ known, to invite a friend, be a part. So the past few that we've had, you guys have continued just to reach out and invite more and more people every time. So use that. Use that as a great night to reach out to everybody, invite them. It'll be fun. And we'll have more details for that next Wednesday as we figure out what some of the food and games and other stuff we'll be doing that night. All right, so that is all of your important announcements that I am aware of. Unless I'm missing anything. Oh, I did forget. Sorry, Will. I genuinely forgot about that. What do you got, sir?
Don't trust atoms. They make up everything.
A thinking man's pun. I appreciate that, Will. Very good. At first, I was like, who's Adam? But I see where you went with that one, Will. Hey, we are going to do a little game here. I actually like the title of this because a lot of you guys were on spring break, and so maybe you've done nothing, all right? Let's get our brains going a little bit. This is going to be some trivia that we are going to do. And what was the title of this game? I forget what it is. Yeah, Stupid Easy Answers, all right? So this is a game that the answers are probably very clear, or you should know, or you just have to think for a second about. Think for a second about, and we'll just toss out some giveaway. Actually, these, totally forgot. Junior guys, these are for you guys last week because you guys won those, so I forgot. So we will hand out these things for some winners of today's game. So very simple. If you know the answer, stand up. Stand up and tell me what you think it is. Is there any way I can get the questions on that screen? Is that even possible? Because here's what happens. I turn around to read it, and then they get mad at me because I don't see who stood up first. We can't do that? Okay. I need a not. Dang. The girls already said not Jay because they feel like you're. I mean, it was the 1 week you were the judge. The junior guys happen to get everything. I'm just saying. So I'm going to do what? That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Who wants to read the questions? Come on, Colin. Go on, come on up, Colin. Colin. Here you go, buddy. Why don't you use this microphone here? You're going to read the questions. I will watch and we'll see who's got it. All right? Yeah. You got to know it before you do that, all right? Because I feel like there was a little bit of... So if you stand up before the question's fully read, I'm not going to call on you. Okay? Are you ready? You ready to read?
I think so.
You got to read your deep reading voice, all right?
Okay.
Be a man. All right. Todd said, be a man. Do what? Is the what spelled right? There. That is correct. That's the first one. All right. Way to go. All right, here we go. Will, what's the first question? Colin, read it out loud.
It's the hall where the Declaration of Independence was signed.
Mason. No. Can't use an adult leader. You got to stand up. Independence Hall. That is correct.
Nice.
Jackson, way to go, buddy. Sour cream and onion. All right. What else?
Larry's father has 5 sons named 10, 20, 30, 40. Guess the name of the 5th son.
And I said, don't stand up until the question is fully read. So all of you that stood up before the question is read, you do not get to answer, yes, ma'am. Do what? Larry. Is that correct? All right, that is correct. Larry would be the 5th son. Have some Swedish fish. Treat yourself. All right.
Okay.
Remember, I gave you a shirt already. All right. Next question.
This smaller river of the Oka River flows past the city of Moscow.
Ethan. The Moscow River is correct.
Give
What do you want?
Give him the ruffles.
The ruffles? There you go, man. There you go. Plunder. They do have ridges. Thank you. I was thinking the same thing. They don't get that joke because they're too young. All right. What do we got?
Leonardo da Vinci was born near the small Tuscan town in 1519.
Ooh. What's the question?
Leonardo da Vinci was born near the small
near
Tuscan
this
town.
small town. Yes. No.
I would have guessed that.
That's not a bad one. Will. No, Mason, you were already standing up too early. Who's Delaney? Tuscan? No, where did Tuscan? Yes. Da Vinci? What is it? Way to go!
Okay.
Heads up. Watch out. Todd with the steal! All right, what's the next one? We'll go until we run out of stuff here.
I have 3 apples. If you take away 2 from me, how many do you have?
Oh, yeah. 2. That is correct. What do you want? Chips. Way to go, Matthew. Way to go. All right. We'll do 2 more questions.
Dos manzana. I think that's how you say apple, at least. The powerful Italian leader Mussolini was called Il Duce, which means...
Both of you are standing. Keegan! A what? That, what is it? No? You're like... The leader! That is correct.
Yeah.
Well, your group probably wants you to win those. All right.
Mason,
And
you still have a chance.
the cell phone bunny with the cell phone is last up. Last up here. Last question. What do we got?
If a plane crashes on the border
No,
between...
too many people have heard this one. Go to the next one. Everybody's like, I got it. Go to the next one.
Is it illegal for a man to marry his widow's sister?
Delaney. No, you didn't know. Yes, sir. Either one. That's incorrect. But there's a reason why. Who was up over here? You were up before the question was read. Bella! The answer is, she said no, it's not, but it doesn't matter because she's not alive anyway. He's not alive, right? No, but since he's dead, it probably wouldn't work out. Bella, that is correct. That is correct. All right. That's all of them. That's all of them. Well done. Well done, Jay. Do what? No, male is a
widower.
A widower. Don't open those till you go to your group, though. Those are from last week. Those are from last week. Hey, we are going to continue. We're going to wrap up our last day of Do Something, where we've just been talking about this idea of when we see things that are wrong, what can we do about it? So today we're going to look at this little idea of like what really is injustice, because even throughout this whole series, we've kind of gotten this idea of if someone thinks it's wrong or someone has the wrong opinion of it, all of a sudden it's like, that means it's injustice. And so it's almost like whoever yells the loudest, that means that's the bad thing at the moment. And so we want to kind of look at that and say, well, is that really what it is? What is injustice? And what can we really do? And so we're going to brainstorm together. We're going to try something, and even in our group time, to think like, all right, throughout all of this stuff, what can we really do about it? Because I think in our group, one of the weeks, like we talked about, well, world hunger is an injustice. But then it's like, all right, what's a group of 6th grade guys going to do about world hunger? Feed everybody, okay? And so it's almost like it's too big, and so we just feel like, okay, that's way too big of a problem, so why bother doing that? Have you ever had like your room is so dirty, like it's just filled with junk everywhere, and your parents are like, clean your room, and you go in, and you're just like, I don't know where to start. So you just sit on your bed and start watching TV or messing with your phone because it's too, like, there's too much stuff to even begin doing that. Anybody else have that going on in your life? No? Yeah, some of you? Okay, thank you. Some of you are looking like you have no idea because your mom still cleans your room. So stop it, all right? Start doing it yourself. But sometimes things can feel so big And so we want to break it down a little bit and start thinking, what can we do? What can you do as a class? What can we do as a student ministry? What can you do individually when you see things that aren't right, but you can fix, or you can use like just your area of influence or who you are. And so I want you to follow along because it's the last one, because I don't want to do a whole series of do something and then just have a whole group of teenagers do nothing. All right, so let's kind of think about that today and figure out what we can do. So let's go ahead and stand on up. We're going to have a little bit of worship time down here. Continue being energetic, guys. Clap, sing out loud, and have a great, great morning today.
Didn't know what was going on there. It's been a while since we've done this one. Sing with me. Come all you weary, come all you thirsty, come to the well that never runs dry. Drink of the water, come and thirst no more. Come all you sinners, come find his mercy, come to the table, he will satisfy. Drink of his goodness, find what you're looking for. For God so loved the world that he gave us his one and only Son to save us. Whoever believes in him will live forever. Sing, bring all your failures, bring all your failures, bring your addictions, come to them down at the foot of the cross. Jesus is waiting with open arms. For God so loved the world that he gave us his one and only Son to save us. Whoever believes in him will live forever. The power of hell forever defeated. Now it is well. I'm walking in freedom. For God so loved the world.
Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him for the wonders of His love. Praise God,
For God so loved the world that he gave us his one and only Son to save. For God so loved the world that he gave us his one and only Son to save us. Whoever believes in him will live forever. The power of hell forever defeated. Now it is well. We're walking in freedom. God so loved the world. Bring all your failures, bring your addictions, come lay them down at the foot of the cross. Jesus is waiting. God so loved the world. came to the world you created, trading your crown for a cross. You willingly died, your innocent life paid the cost. Counting your status as nothing, the King of all kings came to serve, washing my feet, covering me with your love. If more of you means less of me, take everything. Yes, all of you is all I need. Take everything. You are my life and my treasure, the one that I can't live without. Here at your feet, my desires and dreams I lay down. Here at your feet, my desires and dreams I lay down. If more of you means less of me, take everything. hearts as a student ministry are. God, that our desire is for more of you to come through in our life, more of the desires that you have for us. God, that our mission is your mission and not our own. God, as we talk about what it means as we finish up our series on doing something, God, that we be a student ministry, that we be believers of action. God, I thank you for your goodness. I thank you for the chance to get to sing songs of praise to you. God, that we can sing truth about how much you love us, the sacrifice that you made for us. And God, as a result of that, the outpouring of our love for you and our desire for you to shine through in our lives. God, I thank you for your goodness, and I pray for our time in Scripture with you this morning. God, we give you thanks. May we honor you with our lives. Amen.
Okay, so we've done this for a few weeks now, but I want you can kind of give a little bit of feedback here. When you think of the word injustice, what is something? We've talked about this for 3 weeks now. When you hear the words injustice, what comes to mind? What do you think of when you hear that? Oh boy, that's rough. Anything. Come on, I mean, what do you think of when you think of when you think of injustice? What is it? What do you think of? Justice League. Thank you. All right. Do what? Okay, besides comic book stuff, that's all you, man. They remember what you taught about with DC stuff. All right. When you think of injustice, what do you think of? Justice not being served. All right. We're hitting along the lines. Either you guys have not paid attention. You just like, I don't want to say it out loud. Injustice. When you think about this idea of injustice, it is things that aren't right. It is something that's not right. Something that is unequally treated. Something that is not being fair to a person or a group of people for one reason or another. Something that is going on that is wrong. When you think of this idea of injustice. Now, again, I want to make it really clear that we are not talking about a different opinion just because you're like, well, I wanted those chips. This is injustice. They were Ruffles and I deserved them. And then like your whole group starts like standing up and screaming and throwing stuff. That doesn't always necessarily mean it, all right? That means you have a different opinion. But we kind of have mixed things where there are lots of things you see in culture right now that are injustices. But then you'll also hear other people like, well, maybe is that just a different opinion? And then you kind of have to have that dialogue of, well, is it opinion or is it just because I've never shared that experience? And so we can kind of have this back and forth, and it almost turns into where people have these arguments for and against things instead of just looking at situations and go, hey, but is that right? Is that fair? Is that unequal? Is there a treatment going on or taking place there? And it can be on large scale, whether you're talking about like, racism or men or women being treated equally, or whether it's world hunger or anything like that. There could be large scale stuff, or it can simply be that kid at your school that is getting picked on or messed with, and that could be an injustice too. And so we want to kind of break this down into small things. So boys, you can save those chips for small group. How about that? Yeah, just save them for later. Yeah, hold on to them like a baby. That's fine. Hug them, keep them, just save them, all right? I want us to kind of think about what this means because, like I said earlier, we can have this idea sometimes and it just kind of, you don't know what to do about it. Does anybody I wonder if someone would share this. I should have got somebody to share something where someone has told you something and you didn't know how to respond to it. Does anybody ever text you like a really awkward thing and you're like, I don't know how to respond to this, what they just text me? What's your go-to when somebody texts you something super like, oh, this is uncomfortable and I don't know what to do? What do you reply back with? That's just what you, are you just singing that because of the song? That's actually what you type in? You're the only one that would know how to spell that. What else do you guys go with? What's your like go-to when someone texts you something super, yeah? And you just ghost them like this. I'm just gonna put that down like it didn't happen. All right, somebody else, yeah. Mikias, what do you? Cool. It's really hard, man. My grandpa just died, and my dog just died, and my cat, well, I own a cat. And you're like, cool, man. See what I did with the cat? I made it sound like bad news, because if you own a cat, I suppose that's bad news. Now, so, offended, I'm sorry, Charlotte. So, does anybody just put like a random emoji? Like you're just like, anybody? What do you guys use? All right, you just put like a GIF on there, like, what? No, no. What do you do? Word. I use the, I don't even know what it's called. It's just that emoji where his teeth are together, like or the shrug, like, I don't know what to say to this situation. And so I often feel like sometimes that's what we do, because when we see something going on and we're like, that's probably not right, what do I do about it? And so we just kind of either walk away or ignore it or think, what am I going to say or do in this situation that's going to change anything? And I feel like sometimes that's where we get at when it comes to any sort of like wrongdoing, any sort of injustice, things that are taking place. And so I want us to kind of think about if there's ever been a situation you've had in that moment. My first thought, like when, as a teenager, I can picture a kid getting bullied, but it was kind of by friends that they weren't like my good friends, but I kind of knew them. And it was one of those situations where it was like, I should say something, and so instead of doing anything, and I can still remember, I was like in the bathroom washing my hands, and they were just messing with this kid. Well, not in the same stall, Todd, but yes, like in a bathroom, like it was the guy's bathroom. Multiple people are in there in between passing hallways. And they were in the restroom. Sorry, I was washing my hands and I could see they were just like messing with this kid, talking, and I was like, man, I don't really know that guy, but he's not a bad kid. He's just, he was just kind of not like these guys, and they were just talking with him, making fun of him. And I can still picture it like thinking, I should say something. Like, I know these guys good enough. If I say something, they'll probably stop, but then I don't know them that well enough, and I was a junior, and they were seniors, and I just kind of, and there was that moment where you're just like, word, or like, do nothing. Like, I'll just pretend, so I kind of, and I purpose, and I still, because I still feel like garbage for it, where I saw him in the mirror while I'm washing my hands, and I know if I turn left, my back will be towards the kid that's getting picked on, and I can walk out of here without making eye contact. And so that's exactly what I did. I just washed my hands, and I kind of did this and ducked out, and I walked out. And I felt like garbage, because here's one thing. I was like, all I had to do was be like, guys, lay off of him, man. Like, it's a bathroom. Stop acting weird. Leave him alone. And they probably would have been like, oh, whatever. And they just would have walked off. I mean, I guarantee that's what would have happened looking back. But I just had that moment where it was uncomfortable, and I wasn't sure what to do. And I just froze, and I just thought, and I left. And then at lunch table, 2 hours later, guys are talking, and they're talking about this kid getting picked on. And one of my buddies is like super ticked because that was like his cousin or somebody. And they're like, man, if I find those guys that were messing with him, like I'm so ticked off, and like no one even said anything to him. They were just making fun of him, and he was like, the kid was like a freshman, and he was, he was kind of a different kid, and no reason to get picked on. And one of the other guys at the lunch table said, Rob, you walked out of the bathroom when that was going on. Weren't you in there? And I just thought, And then I just did the only thing you can do at that time. I don't know, man. And I got up and I went and threw away my trash, and then I went down and I hung out in my coach's office for the rest of lunch and talked to him because I felt so embarrassed and so ashamed because here's my buddy, and that was like his cousin or his neighbor or somebody, and he was ticked off because his little guy was getting picked on and no one did anything. And then they found out you were there, though, and I just felt like, dang. And so there were no emojis at that time in life. But I wish like I could have just been like, hide. And because there are times when you can do something. This was not world hunger. This was not some giant issue or problem that the world was facing that I had no power over. This was a situation where there was clearly injustice and I could have done something. And I remember getting so frustrated by it that I just thought, I'm never going to turn my back like that again. That was stupid. I could have said something and it wouldn't have even turned out into anything. It was just one little thing, and just being frustrated with myself over these things and just thinking like some things you can do. There are things that each and every one of you have the ability to be a part of something that can either help the life of one person or it may have an impact on multiple people, and you never even know about it. You know, one of the favorite things, it was crazy when they were talking about how like this past week was the 1-year anniversary of like when our country just kind of shut down and everything just went on pause. It was right at spring break. It was during spring break because you guys left and they're like, hey, don't come back. Give it a week. And we're like, all right, we'll have it. We'll all be back at school in a week. And then it just kept going. But one of the coolest things during that time was when our impact ministry had to shut down. And they're like, but we don't know what to do because people more than ever need something. And so they were like, we'll just open it up in our church parking lot. Maybe 30, 40, 50 people will show up. And then you just saw lines of cars and cars and cars. And it was so cool on some days being out there serving with people. Other days, like we were coming and going, and I would be out there for like an hour, and then I had to go do other stuff, and then I'd come back out. But just seeing families and students and kids and teenagers just serving. And a lot of you were out there every week. Or maybe, you know, the days you could, or for a few hours at a time. Because you couldn't go help everybody, but you were just like, I can do this, though. I can be out and do this. And so you didn't just kind of turn your eye and hide away from it. And the verse we're looking at today is James, in the book of James chapter 2. And it's such a great verse. And he's talking to the church about, like, living out their faith. Not just like going to church and hearing about God and being like, oh, cool, like we love Jesus, and then turning out and just doing nothing with it. He says in James chapter 2, and he's writing to a church, he's writing to believers, and he says, hey, suppose a brother or sister is without clothes, and I think the verse is on there, Will, if you want to pop it up. He says, suppose a brother or sister is without clothes and daily food, and one of you says to them, go in peace, keep warm and well fed, but does nothing about their needs. What good is it? What good is it if someone comes to you and they're like, oh, I'm so hungry, or I need this, or this, and you're like, oh, man, I'm really sorry. And you like pull out a Snickers and start eating it. That is really, it's a really rough situation. Just, I'll be praying for you, and then and then pat them on and send them on their way. Suppose you see something or a need that you know you can control or have something to do with, but you do nothing. And his whole point was, what good is that? What good is it to see someone in need, to see something that you are able to have help with, and then turn your back on that injustice? Whether it's a large thing or whether it's a small thing. Whether it's friends making some joke about somebody else for who they are or what they are, the color of their skin, and you may not feel that same way, but you just kind of chuckle at it and walk away. What good is that? What good is it to know, like, I should be caring about other people and helping other people, but I see that kid that sits at the lunch table by themselves, or those one or two people that are always getting picked on and never do anything, even though half the time it's probably some of my friends that are helping out with that? What good is that? Or maybe a bigger need. Maybe your school is doing some sort of food drive or something, and you're like, oh, that is a really good thing you guys are doing. Keep it up, and not doing anything with it. What good is that? Or maybe it just comes down to, I know I have a friend that needs Christ, and I know I have a church that is offering something on the first Wednesday, but if I invite a friend to it, then that means I can't hang out with all my buddies at church, and it would be weird to bring someone new to it, so I'll just not. What good is that? And so sometimes we hold back because it's different, or we're not sure what to do, or it's uncomfortable, and so we just say word, or cool, or nothing at all, and we go the other way, and we think, I know there was probably something I could do. Sometimes it just comes down to that person that's new, and you're like, walk right past them to go sit with your friends, even at church. And we've all done it. And there's just little things. Because I want us to stop thinking so huge scale here and think, what is that I can do? So he goes on in James, and because he's just talking about faith. And he's like, in the same way, faith by itself is not accompanied, if it is not accompanied by action, then it's dead. It's not real faith if it's just words. If we're not showing it in some way, caring for other people, doing something and something. When you look at the life of Christ, and we go through all these really cool sermons, and you can see all these really cool teachings that Jesus did, but also half of those things in the gospel, when you look at Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, there is like a third of it is teaching, and 2/3 of it is Jesus' actions, just caring for other people, reaching out to that other person, changing the way people look at people because he was caring and loving on them. And that is what it means to do something. It doesn't mean you're going to go out, and as much as I love my 6th grade guys, we're not going to conquer world hunger, all right? You guys can share some chips with each other today. We'll solve a little bit of that. But we're not going to conquer it. I love you guys, but we're not going to figure it out today. But they can figure out, how can I help someone tomorrow? How can I see something, a need? It may be something even in my own household where I see something that I can be a part of. What can we do? And so when you guys go to your groups today, I want you to do something for me, and something a little bit different. And leaders, it's not on your notes or anything, but I want you guys to start thinking. As you go to your groups, I want you to think, how can I speak up? Talk about it. Has there ever been a situation in your school or something you've been around or on your team or something you've seen where you're like, I probably could have done something, but I didn't? Or maybe you could have done something and you did, and you actually helped out someone. And so think about that. Think about your area of influence, because you all have influence in some way or another. Whether it's just your 3 friends that you're, around. How do you use that to help out other people? Use your abilities, use your life. We all have something. And so when you guys go to your small groups today, I want you to think as individuals, how can we help do something for somebody? But then also think as a group. What could our student ministry do? Or what could us as high schoolers do? Or if we just got high school guys together to do something? Is there something we could see, what's a problem we have, and how can we be a part of that? How could we do something here for maybe it lasted a few weeks, or maybe it was just a one-day thing, or serving? In our life groups, we're going to be putting together some service projects of things saying, hey, here are needs within our church, within our community, that we can help out and be a part of. And so that's going to be something with our life groups that we start serving. But kind of talk about maybe there's something as a group you guys could do. Or that you're have a really good idea, it would be really cool if we did this as a student ministry. Let's actually come up with 2 or 3 things. And then your leaders can send those to me and Andrew, and we can look at those and go, hey, these are 3 things we can do over the next few months. So that when this whole series is done, we actually have 2 or 3 things that we say, hey, this is where we can start doing something as a group. So brainstorm together. Leaders, you guys can send me those ideas. Just text me, email, whatever you want to do later today, and share with those. So let's actually look at what is something we can do. How do we do something? Because all of you have that ability to do something. So think about that and think about individually and think about as a group, and let's come up with some things, because we don't want to be individuals who just look at a need and look at other people and go, oh, it's too bad for them. And we also don't want to be a ministry and as a church to say, oh, look at all this crazy stuff, but we're not going to help out with any of that. What can we be a part of? And so I'm going to let you guys spend some time in your groups talking about these things. I think we are covered. Okay. So we should be good. If you don't know where to go, but you see someone in your grade or your age, just follow that person. I think everybody here knows where to go. But and if not, just ask one of our leaders, and they will kindly point you in the right direction. So go ahead and go on to your groups, guys. You got plenty of time. And life groups, Wednesday, be here even if you've never been before.